Hey guys, back here once again to give you something that I have been working on for a little while now, although something that was given a whole other reason to be done after the whole debate started about indie wrestling and, you know, the way it's promoted on YouTube and the rights and wrongs of it. But I thought this was a good way to kind of bridge that gap, because here we have a video wherein mainstream fans might come for the WWE related stuff, and then might stay for the other wrestling, the stuff in this video that relates to other wrestling, because this is going to be 60-minute matches, and out of 25 matches that I'm going to rate on the list in the description box below, only 5 of them are WWE. So anyone who just came to see what I think is the best WWE 60-minute match might want to have a look at some of the other ratings on the list, because there are a lot of better ratings than you will find in the WWE ones. Not to say that the WWE have not put on some good 60-minute matches, but you will find some much better ones on other parts of this list. Particularly when you look at the Ring of Honor section of this list, you will see that a lot of the matches here have names that are very familiar. I don't think there's a single match here with a guy who has not been to WWE or TNA, or is not already in WWE or TNA. So there's absolutely no reason why mainstream fans might not want to check out those matches. I'm pretty sure I have all the WWE ones and all the Ring of Honor ones, but I'm sure there are Japanese ones and miscellaneous ones that I've missed, and if there's any major ones that I've missed, I'm sure people would point that out to me. So I'm not going to go into every match, because no way I'm going to have the time to do that, but I will kind of zone in on some matches that I want to kind of talk about briefly. The first one being, and I think I should clarify my position on this match, is the Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart match at WrestleMania 12, because you can see from the rating that I haven't given it maybe the amount of love that maybe some other people would have. Let me just kind of explain my position on that. I think it's a great match. Do not get me wrong. I think it's a great match. I gave it 4 stars. But I think it's a very overrated match, because you will get people who will say that this is the best WrestleMania match of all time. To me, this is not top 5, and maybe not a top 10 either. It might be a top 10, but that's a close run thing. That just requires you to look a bit more in depth at the best WrestleMania matches. But to me, this is definitely not a top 5 and not a top 10 either. I'm not trying to take away the moment of Shawn Michaels winning to anyone who was a wrestling fan in 1996. That's not my intention. I do understand that. I do understand that maybe if I were a wrestling fan in 1996, I would have maybe remembered this match more fondly, but to me this just was underwhelming. They spent the first 30 minutes building up to a great second half, but the great second half never came. They did use a lot more near falls in the second half, which I did appreciate, but there was never enough drama and enough intensity in the match where you could believe, up until the end, up until the very end, where you could believe that maybe they would lose a fall. It just wasn't there in my mind, so that's why I just didn't give it the credit that maybe some people would. I do think it's a great match, though. That's probably important to emphasize, that I do think it's a great match, nevertheless. But as far as great 60-minute matches in the WWE go, I'm going to say the best one was Triple H versus Chris Benoit. Look at some of the punishment that Benoit was taking in that match, and you can just kind of see the story of the 60-minute match is being told to excellence there. The story of endurance, stamina, resourcefulness, and all that stuff. And even though the overbooking at the end was kind of strange, I still do think, well, not strange, but maybe didn't need to be there. I still think it's a great match, and the best one that the WWE have ever put on. And that kind of leads me to like the telling of the story of a 60-minute match, because there's only so many different ways that you can tell the story of, you know, the wrestler's stamina, resourcefulness, endurance before it gets kind of stale, especially if you watch these in sequence like I did. So when you break a certain barrier with the story and kind of tell it, take it to the next level, I guess, that's when you get a 60-minute match that might be a match of the year candidate, and it might be remembered a little longer, because there are definitely some pairings here, like Danielson, McGuinness, Aries, Black, that can have better matches in 20 minutes than they did in 60 minutes. That's been shown to be true. So that's kind of the negative part about some of these matches, or the premise of having a 60-minute match to begin with, because, you know, they're very good for building a wrestler's credibility and very good for kind of intensifying certain feuds, but they're not going to get out the best matches between certain workers. There are a few exceptions, and we will see some of that in due time. As far as the Ring of Honor matches go, that was very evident in some of the pairings we had and the story that was being told in them. As you will see, there's a lot of 4-star and 4.25-star ratings here, and those are the matches that kind of didn't reach that extra level to become matches of the year candidates. The exceptions would lie in the four-way at crowning a champion in 2002, which was a little different in the way it was set up. I mean, you know, they could kind of vary up the participants in the match and keep it fresh every time it was kind of getting stale. So it was a little different, and it was a lot easier to follow. Well, not easier to follow isn't the right phrase, but it did feel a little different, feel a little fresher, and that's kind of why it got a very high rating. And then you had, you know, Samoa Joe and CM Punk. Those guys, they took their feud and they made it into the feud where you have these kind of matches, and they kind of just took it to another level, and they managed to have a 4.5-star 60-minute match and a 5-star 60-minute match, and they just had just the talent to be able to do that. Not to say that other guys who were given the same feud that they had couldn't have produced the same kind of magic, but this is what we got, and that was pretty amazing to say the least. So as far as Ring of Honor matches go, I'd say the first three are the most recommended that they had. Just great stuff there. And then we get into the Japanese ones, and here is where you find the story being told just taken to another level. And that's not just because there are some tag matches on here, because there are some tag matches on here, 2 tag matches to be precise, and both of which have the same 2 teams, one of which is lesser than the one they had at the start of '95, which would be Kobashi and Misawa versus Kawada and Taue. Went for an hour, went to a draw, 60 minutes of just pure class tag team wrestling, and I would highly recommend it for anyone who has not seen that type of match yet. It's not the best tag team match you'll see in All Japan 90s, but it's definitely special stuff. 5-star perfect tag team match, probably one of the best tag team matches of all time, to be honest. And then you have their second match in that year, which was not nearly as good, but still a great match in its own right. And then you come to, you know, the one-on-one 60-minute matches, 2 of which I've given here 5 stars. The most recent one being Kenta and Marufuji. I did not like their match this year as much as everyone else did. I did give it a great rating. I said it was 4.25. Just something wasn't right for me. I'm going to watch the match again soon to see if I feel better about it the second time around, but something wasn't there for me the first time. But this match, their 2008 match that went to the 60-minute draw, this is the match to me that you have to watch if you have not watched it already. An amazing match, everything you would expect from, you know, Kenta and Marufuji, and they just went at it for 60 minutes. Just really dramatic stuff, and I gave it the full 5. I know some people might think I'm kind of going beyond the boundaries of the match for giving it 5 stars, but I really thought it was that good. And then you come to, in my opinion, the best 60-minute match in the history of pro wrestling. It's the opinion shared by Dave Meltzer. He called it that, and I would have to agree. Kenta Kobashi versus Toshiaki Kawada in All Japan 95 for the Triple Crown title. Just 60 minutes of amazing stuff, amazing work rate, psychology, storytelling, all that good stuff is all there for pretty much a perfect wrestling match, I would say. And if you have not seen that match, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's an amazing match. There's pretty much only one bad match on here, to be honest. Although before I kind of talk about that a little bit, I do want to kind of highlight the ECW match here from the night the line was crossed, 94. This Sabu versus Shane Douglas versus Terry Funk. This is a match that gets mentioned on the Rise and Fall of ECW DVD in a very positive light, and I kind of would like an ECW fan to kind of explain this to me, because I really didn't see it. I didn't get this match, to be honest. I tried to kind of put myself in the moment, kind of put myself in the storytelling part of the moment, but I really didn't get it. It just kind of seemed like an okay brawl to me, with some okay spots. Just really didn't get it. I guess it was significant in the sense that, you know, if you can claim a wrestler has went 60 minutes in a match, then that wrestler status is enhanced, whether the match was good or bad, and that's kind of I think what happened here, because the match itself was not very good, I don't think. But I would like an ECW fan to kind of explain that to me in a way that I can kind of appreciate it a bit more, I guess. So I might not really get it still, but I could at least understand why it got the high praise on the DVD. So there is that. With the one bad match that is on here, and there is a bad match that went for 60 minutes, and that goes to AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels in PWG. When I found this match available for download, the poster warned that it was one of the worst matches in PWG history, and this was when guys took it easy in PWG. I was very intrigued as to how Daniels and AJ could go out there for 60 minutes and produce utter shit. It wasn't shit, because it's not like it was botch heavy or just bad wrestling, but it was pretty much 60 minutes of a whole lot of nothing. Very much non-activity, punches and kicks, very few actual wrestling moves, I would say, just not very good stuff. And when he said this was when guys took it easy in PWG, I thought, okay, maybe this was, I can maybe get that. I mean, in 2005, AJ and Daniels were main eventers in TNA, and this was when PWG was only 2 years old, and maybe not worth busting your ass to put on great matches for. But then I would wonder, why would PWG give them 60 minutes to go out there and do that? So that's kind of strange to me. That's the only bad match on here. Everything else is good to great. You can see the great ratings I've given here and kind of deduce your own opinion on what the best 60-minute match is. But for me, it's Kawada versus Kobashi, All Japan 95, and that's the end of that. And speaking of Kobashi stealing the show, I want to share with you guys something that I will be reviewing in due course. That is the Best of Kenta Kobashi 5-disc set from High Spots. I will be reviewing this pretty soon. Not the next video I will do, but I will do it pretty soon. That's all from me now. I'm out. Later.